With you being based in the UK, I think that's a very interesting case because UK was relatively early to TikTok Shop. Do you see the market maturing, or do you feel like it's still very early days? Like, how mainstream is TikTok Shop in the UK these days?
Yeah, I think it's definitely still maturing for us as an agency, even though I mean UK, majority of our clients are US based, about 80% US, and again like 20% mix up of like say UK and Europe. I think it's definitely a place that is definitely getting stronger. And I think what will happen is now is there's two ways of looking at it, right? I feel like once more enterprise brands start to come onto the platform, that's kind of the next kind of phase, I think, because again, once you start to get your retailers, your high street brands coming on and doing it properly, that's going to obviously bring more people to it. It's going to bring more audience to it as well. But that obviously takes time because again, I feel like especially within the UK, there's a lot of sign off. So again, you might speak to a brand, but then they've got to get sign off from maybe a CMO, then maybe a founder, then maybe finance. And again, these processes do take maybe 6 to 12 months, right? So again, I do think going into 2026, there will be more of an evolution that the bigger brands will start to understand that, okay, we need this to be part of our marketing mix. It might not necessarily be like the number one or two driver, but we need to kind of have it to kind of stay ahead of the game. But again, it takes time. Again, anything with adoption always takes time. But again, I feel like we are now starting to see the bigger brands in the UK come on the platform. Like you've got your L'Oreal, you've even got Shark Ninja coming on from the US. So you are starting to see these brands coming on the platform, which again is going to make it better for everyone. But again, like I say, there's no time. If you are a small brand, the time is now to kind of start. So at least you do have that advantage before the bigger brands do start to launch on the platform.
It's also interesting for people who have been working with ecom for a longer period of time that history repeats itself, right? I mean, we saw that with Amazon. First, it was kind of frowned upon and like cheap stuff sold from China, and now everybody's on Amazon, obviously. Same happened with Shopify. First, it was very small drop shipper using Shopify to sell their stuff. They had like two SKUs, and that was their website. Now, every large brand pretty much is run on Shopify.
Mhm.
So I think it takes some time, but in the long run, we're gonna get there with TikTok Shop and social commerce as well. So it's
Yeah.
really cool to see brands like L'Oreal being at the very forefront of that. And it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out in 2026.
Yeah.
Do you think generally that TikTok Shop has gotten easier or harder in the last couple of years for you as an agency and also for brands coming on? Because on the one hand, it's getting more mainstream. Probably more people are willing to buy through TikTok Shop, and it doesn't really have that stigma as much anymore as at the very beginning. At the same time, it's getting more crowded, right? It's getting more competitive. Probably the ROI is going down over time. So, what can you see from your day-to-day work with your clients there?
Yeah, I think it's definitely harder for brands who are looking to get started. Again, it's kind of a two prong answer. I'd say I think brands who are looking to get started on their own is definitely harder because again, it does take a lot of resources because again, you a brand would need to invest, I personally think, in terms of one person managing this whole kind of thing. Because again, you can't just maybe have it like someone who you're influencer market doing it part time. You need someone solely focused on it because again, there is so many moving parts, right? You've got like say the affiliate execution part takes up a massive part of that. And then again, it's not just the finding the affiliates, it's obviously then briefing them, it's obviously continuing to work with them and obviously retaining them, right? So again, that in itself is a job to kind of do. And then if you are going to be doing lives, you kind of need someone who does the live. So again, I feel like for brands who are getting started, it's definitely harder to do it on their own. And I'm not saying it can't be done. It just depends in terms of what scale you want to kind of do it at. So that's kind of the first part of it. But then in terms of like for more established agencies, I think it's definitely hard, but I think at the same time, because if you are working with multiple brands, you can see what works. You can start to see the signals a lot quicker. You have the creators that you've worked with on other brands as well, which you can kind of plug into other brands as well. So again, I think it definitely can still be done. But at the same time, from our perspective anyway, we are more selective with brands in terms of, okay, yeah, again, like I mentioned earlier, I think most brands can succeed on the platform, but you still need to tick a lot of boxes, right? In terms of, like, say, you need to know what you want from the platform itself. Like, say, if it is LTV, wherever it is, you need to be ROI straight away. You need to have some sort of budget, right? And again, you need to be able to send out. Personally, I think you want to be sending out close to like at least 500 samples per month. If you can't do that, I'm not saying you can't succeed on the platform. It's just going to take a lot longer because, again, the main thing is you want to be able to get data as quickly as possible so you can optimize on that because, like I say, it is a science. And again, even if you send out 500 samples, you're going to probably get maybe a 75, 80% post rate. And then realistically, you normally see, like say, under 10% of creators generate 90% of the sales, right? So again, it is all about volume from that side of things. So I think as an agency, it definitely is. It's still hard, but again, if you know the numbers, you can see what's working for other brands. And if you've got a team who can execute on it, then again, it does make it slightly easier.